Man, oh man, who would ever think that MoveOn.org and a Republican governor would agree on something, in fact, be pushing the same thing on something? MoveOn urging its members to write their senators to oppose, nix, scratch, dump that health care bill. They're angry that it doesn't include a public option. Rhode Island's governor just sending letters to his state's Democratic senators urging them to vote against the bill. He thinks it costs too much, and he's a Republican. Governor Donald Cartier joining me right now. So, Governor, you and MoveOn.org joined at the hip. Congratulations.
Boy, miracles will never cease, right, Neil?
It is Christmas. What do you make of that?
All right, well, I think everybody's realizing that this thing has gone to a place where it's the best thing is just to stop right now. You know, you've heard me say in the past, and I tried to communicate to our senators, this would be a disaster for the states. The increase in Medicaid right now has been busting states' budgets for years, Neil. It's been the single biggest driver taking money away from higher education, away from local education. And we've been working very hard in Rhode Island. We've done something unique in the agreement we came to last year with the federal government to begin to control Medicaid costs. This burden, and you can't tell, if you can tell me what's going to come out of this Congress, I'd be thrilled to know. But you know, when we look at the House and Senate versions, it's going to add cost.
That, Governor. We were talking earlier, somewhat facetiously, but to make a serious point, would you as governor ever announce or have your legislative leaders announce anything of substance during a weekend, during what could be a blizzard?
First of all, trying to get this done before Christmas, the whole process, and I don't live in Washington, Neil, thank goodness, but no, this is absurd. It's beyond absurdity, actually, where we are right now. And you know, putting aside the whole question of the burden on the states, we've got big deficits that I'm trying to close right now, both in a supplemental budget as well as next year. We can't take another nickel in terms of mandates coming out of a health care bill.
Well, you've talked to both your senators, right? And what's come of those discussions?
Well, I think, you know, unfortunately,
Democrats.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, both of them are on, you know, the left branch of the Democrat Party. They've been fully on board with this. I haven't heard a single one of them actually voicing any concern. And here I am
but
saying,
Jack Reed, apologize if I got this wrong, he's not super on board. And I guess that's why he keeps meeting with President Obama 3 or 4 times, I think.
Well, you know.
So I don't know where it stands with him, but are any of your doubts or concerns registering with him?
You know, I hope so, but, you know, I don't see it, you know, because the one I'm focusing on, obviously, is the impact on our Medicaid budget, and we're already scrambling. You know that. You're hearing that from other states. The other part of this thing is all the taxes built in up front, because, as you know, this is front-loaded with burdens on all of our citizens, taxes on small businesses, taxes on individuals, corporations. You know, you're from the ocean state. You know, to me, it's sort of like the boat's taking on water, and Congress thinks drilling holes in the bottom is going to let the water out. I mean, you know, we've got an economy that's barely recovering right now, and add that tax burden on, I just think is going to prolong this recession.
One of my memories of being a former and a proud, loved your state, Rhode Island, is that it's a largely Democratic state. Your election notwithstanding, you're sort of like the odd duck who snuck in. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the only one, actually.
Right. But I'm kidding here. But the one thing, Governor, I think there is a prevailing view among Democrats that this is the thing they want to do. But the more they look at it, the more Democrats are saying, guys, maybe this is not the thing we want to do. When Ben Nelson is starting, you know, this is not really the way we want to go. Media.org and some of these others are saying this isn't the way we want to go. AFL-CIO is saying this might not be the way we want to go. Do you see a schism, and maybe a serious one, developing in the Democratic Party?
Well, I don't know if I'd call it a schism. What you've got is you've got a left wing for whom this is an ideological issue. They don't care about the cost. It's absurd to me when I hear them say this is going to bend the cost. It is not going to bend the cost. The only hope of flattening the cost is laying a tax burden on everybody to pay for it. This is going to increase costs. So you got the left wing, if you will, Neil, that doesn't care about this. This is an ideological issue. There's the more middle part of what I would call the liberals that really have some issues. And Ben Nelson's a good example. I mean, I know he's very concerned about the funding for abortion. That was a big issue, as you know, in the House. I think there are some real people that are worried about the deficit. So it's a huge schism. I don't know if you can see this right in front of me. All right, you probably can't. This is a reserve note from the Bank of Zimbabwe. It's a $100 trillion note, Neil. It won't buy you a loaf of bread in Zimbabwe. This was given to me by a good friend of mine. I mean, that's where we're headed right now. We're printing money like there's no tomorrow.
You know, that governor is like the checks I used to write the last time I lived in Rhode Island. That had effectively the same financial impact. Governor, very good having you. Have yourself a very Merry Christmas. Great having you on.
Same to you, Neil. Take care.
All right. When we come back, the president's saying the global